In this video, I want to show you how to find all of the events that happened in a biblical place. The reason this is helpful is sometimes you're going to come across an event in the New Testament or even later on in the Old Testament, towards maybe the Babylonian captivity sort of period, and you're going to have these cities where things happen. And if you can find the events that happened previously, you're going to get a better context of what's actually happening in the text, because the story of the Bible is not isolated. Everything builds on the thing before it. And if you can find that information, it's going to be very helpful. Let me show you a basic search, and we're going to pull up a search panel with the magnifying glass here. Maybe if you're new to Logos, you might be tempted, we'll search Jerusalem, you might be tempted to just search for the city in the text like this in Bible and click Jerusalem and hit return. Now, this is not an unhelpful search. What this is this is a search that has in English in the NASB all the times the New American Standard Bible uses the word Jerusalem. Not an unhelpful search, but not really what we're looking for. We want to see all the events. So we could take this data and get some of the events, but as we're going to see, Jerusalem is sometimes not called Jerusalem in the Bible. We want to know that place, that city. So the other kind of search that we can do in the Bible, the search panel, that is a little bit better, is when we go open up this menu here, we're going to get a lot of search templates. This is so helpful for searching. And we want to search a place in the Bible. Let's search Jerusalem. Right here, we're going to search Jerusalem. We're going to search it. Now, as you can even see, Genesis 14:18 with Melchizedek, the king of Salem. If we did not know that information, we would have no idea that Salem was Jerusalem, that those are one and the same. And here in Deuteronomy 12:16, we get, there you shall bring your burnt offerings, talking about Jerusalem. But if we didn't know the context, we would not know that that's Jerusalem. This is a helpful search because we get all these verses, but it's hard. Just imagine going through this data and trying to find all the different events. This is a good search, but it's not really what we're looking for. But I want to bring those searches to mind because sometimes they're helpful to get that information. But in Logos, there's usually 4 or 5 different ways that get better the more you use the tools and you learn to use the tools. So here I've got a fact book search with Jerusalem, and here we get a lot of things. We get our key article. Logos here becomes our personal research assistants. We get media and maps. We're going to get key passages, how it's referred to, and there's going to be a section that's going to open up in just a moment called the event section. That's going to give us all the events within that happened in Jerusalem. That's a very helpful way to think of how to get the text. So to open up the fact book and to have that information right there, very helpful. While that's pulling up, I want to bring your attention to something called the Biblical Event Navigator. And of course, as soon as I type it, I'm going to open it just to get it ready. But as soon as I type it, all these events come through, and you of course have your timeline here, but then you have your events here related to Jerusalem. So right there, you get a wonderful list within the fact book that you can have this information. So that's one place you can get it. Another place is within the Biblical Event Navigator. I like this resource because you can search all sorts of things, people, places, things. The fact book has this information, but sometimes the fact book can become overwhelming with the options, and I just need the information that I need right away. So one thing I could search is Jerusalem, and we have 547 results dealing with Jerusalem. And you can click on one. It's going to open up. You're going to get the story, the passage. And the reason I like this is because not only do you get the passage, but you get some important things. But here is the setting, Jerusalem. That's the important thing for our purposes in this video. So remember, Biblical Event Navigator. You can search a place and get all of the events within that city. The last place that I want to show you that puts on a different sort of meaning for how to discover these things is the Atlas tool. And so when we open up the Atlas tool, let me dock this tab. We're going to open up. You can search person, place, thing within the atlas. So when I search Jerusalem and I click go, it's doing all of its work, and look what we get. We get Jerusalem right here within the map, so we're visual, we're able to see, but then also down here we get different periods within the life of Jerusalem from an atlas or a map perspective. So a little bit different than the biblical event navigator, but helpful in different ways, because if you're like me, it's you want to visualize what's going on. So these are, I think, three solid ways to find this information. And you could use a search panel. You could find a place in the Bible. Both of those things are helpful. But I think if you want to find all the events, either the fact book, the biblical event navigator, or the atlas are the way to go. Until next time, God bless.